I believe Earth is a gift. I thought it was a prison planet for a while, man. When I first woke up, I was like, I think we were enslaved and all that. So I think because we have amnesia, say that you're up in universe and cosmos in heaven, and you're like, man, Earth looks so interesting and fun. I've experienced everything. I want to experience something other than what I've experienced. What can I do to experience something novel, something new? Well, let me wipe my memory clean so I don't remember everything I've done before. Go down to Earth in a free will planet and let me see if I can still figure out who I am. We come down to Earth, we forgot we did this to ourselves, and then we're like, holy crap, man, why the heck would I do this? I wouldn't have done this to myself. The devil did it to me.
Okay, guys, we got Neil back on the show. Our first one, I don't know what happened to that one, but
it vanished into the ethers.
yeah, the reptilian saw us, man. But dude, it's good to see you again.
It's good to be back.
It's been some time. I know you've probably been traveling a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
What was the latest trip you took?
I was in Peru for the last 3 months.
Wow. How was that?
It's beautiful. It's just, most people go down to Peru in order to go to the sacred sites, but Peru has so much more to offer. So I went to a little surf town, just a chill vibe for 3 months. And I'm creating a lot of amazing events. In the next couple of years, I feel humanity is getting ready for open contact with, the fact that we're not alone in the universe is going to be a common knowledge. So for 3 months in this kind of place where I was hermiting I was just really creating and planning out what I'm going to be doing the next couple of years.
So you really think we'll experience open contact then? What makes you so convicted?
I think the first thing is everybody knowing on the planet we're not alone in the universe, right? So there's not only channelers, but there's also whistleblowers and ex-members of the CIA. John Ramirez is one of them, that have said that the reason why all this disclosure stuff is happening right now is that the memo went out that you have until 2027 to make yourselves known about all the hidden truths. Because so many of these things that have happened have been atrocities and crimes against humanity in order to cover up the story that we're not alone in the universe, right? So on some level, there's a little resistance because there's a whole group of people that want this to come out. And then there's the other ones that are afraid they're going to be held accountable for all the crimes that they've committed over decades for this.
Wow.
But no matter what happens and no matter how disillusioned people are, we can't deny that conversations that we thought would never happen, especially in Congress, for example, when one of the whistleblowers was in Congress and they asked him what he thinks these beings are, he said projections of higher consciousness. That was in Congress. All the congressional members we see every day on TV were there. Those conversations never happened before. So we're moving closer and closer to it. And by 2027, the first step will be, is everybody knowing we're not alone, right? We might not have open contact at that moment, but as soon as we all are on the frequency that we're not alone and we're aware of it, all of a sudden the gates open up. And soon after that, we could have open contact. I honestly feel that in our lifetimes, we're going to have interaction with ETs.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Do you think ancient civilizations operated that way with ETs?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I feel like we go through cycles, right? And if you look at a lot of the religions and civilizations over the last 2,000, 3,000 years, you see that their calendars are very linear, especially the Roman calendar. That was like the construct of linearity, really. And then the Piscean calendar into Christianity. But if you look before that, you see that the Mayans, the Aztecs, the ancient Chinese, India, talk about time being secular. And within that, they talk about rises and falls of civilization. And if you go into some civilizations like ancient India, they talk about an evolution of consciousness, an elevated consciousness. So I feel that we've been at stages, I don't know how many times the cycles happen, but we've been at stages where the consciousness has been so high that we've been able to interact with beings, either communicating through our consciousness or them actually coming on the planet. And then as we fell from grace, so to speak, from these higher levels, we basically entered a realm of amnesia where we forgot who we were. We forgot our connection to the cosmos. And right now what's happening is that a reemergence and a remembering.
And speaking of time, our calendar's been modified too, right? It used to be 13 months.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the calendar's been distorted and manipulated so many times, right? And even it was Julius Caesar, the Julian calendar, right, was the first one. And then the Gregorian calendar just added and kind of solidified what Julius Caesar had put in. But it's been shifted so much. Even the zodiacs, there were 13 zodiacs at one point. Right now we have 12. So by creating this distortion and then us using it as doctrine as this is what it really is, that just creates a further disconnection from the truth of who we are. And I feel on some level, some energy, some entity, something wanted us to be disconnected in order for us to not be able to tap into our true potential. Because if we do that, then we become sovereign beings and we're able to make some real changes and not have to rely on the powers that are in order for us to basically have the lives that we want.
It makes you wonder, because a lot of people are into astrology and numerology right now, but if the time calendar has been altered, what does that mean? It's false?
Yeah, so that's something that I've kind of been wondering as well, because there is what I've seen in the 12 zodiac calendar is I do see a lot of truths and I see a lot of connection in there.
Mm.
And it could be that when it gets to a point where you convince the whole population of one type of way of living, that maybe it becomes actually true to us.
Wow.
We actually created their own consciousness. And that would go into the whole concept of this being a simulation, and we are the creators of the simulation. So if we are the creators of the simulation, what we're really doing is we just are unaware of it. We're actors on the stage that forgot we're acting. So what we're doing is we're creating unintentionally. So when we have these things and these components that we adopt, these belief systems we adopt, we're unintentionally manifesting in this reality, right? And it becomes doctrine for us. But what's happening right now, part of the shift in consciousness, is us realizing we're the script writers, we're the directors, we're everything, we're the actors. And then we start actually creating the reality we want intentionally, consciously, right? And like I like to say, we become like Neo from the Matrix, at that point. We can manipulate space-time, right? And we're no longer a victim to the elements, because in this third dimension, we are a victim to the elements. We need a certain amount of nitrogen, carbon, oxygen. We need to be in the Goldilocks zone, right?
Yeah.
All these different things. When you start realizing that you are the one who creates this reality and we all collectively get to that point, we are no longer, for lack of a better term, a victim to our elements in order for us to survive. And we become the masters of our surroundings, the masters of the simulation.
That would explain the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, definitely.
Because a lot of people manifest weird things with that.
Right. Well, the Mandela effect's interesting because, when I started getting into all this, the first thing I wanted to look into was the root of all religion. Because I saw that there has to be a root of everything. If any story like Adam and Eve was real, or if there was a certain tribe of people at one point, and then we all became who we are now, there's got to be a root of all religion. And as I was looking into that, I saw all these ancient civilizations talking about beings, gods that visited us. Soon I started thinking, well, what if these are star beings visiting us? And when I looked into the stories, a lot of them seemed to be overlapping with other stories. And I was like, well, how could the Lyrans and the Pleiadians and the Syrians do this to humanity when the Anunnaki were doing this to humanity at the same time? How can there be all these primitive skeletal remains that we find of people around the same time Atlantis existed? And I feel what happened is that many of us have different stories and different histories because we come from different timelines. We come from different places. So in your history, you might have the Anunnaki story, and somebody else's, they came from a parallel reality where it was the Lyran story.
Whoa.
And what's going on right now is as you go into the fifth dimension, right, you heard the whole concept of parallel realities, parallel dimensions. There's parallel third dimensional, we're in the fourth dimension really, but let's just say parallel third dimensional realities, right? Many of them. When you go to the fifth dimension, there's less realities. So third dimensional realities need to collapse into one timeline. So that's why the population is increasing right now, is because not people just from our parallel reality are coming, but beings from all types of realities are coming here in order to experience this shift in consciousness.
I love that concept because a lot of people are looking for where these ancient civilizations were, but maybe they can't ever find them physically, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of evidence at the same time, like off the coast of Cuba, there's been discoveries. And if you look at Graham Hancock's work, for example, in his documentaries, he shows a lot. But there's probably a lot that not only we can't find because it came from a different parallel reality, but also one thing that they only started admitting lately is that the face of the Earth shifts more than we originally thought it did.
Really?
Meaning that there's crustal displacement, there's earthquakes, there's asteroids. But crustal displacement is the number one thing where sometimes in our history, all of a sudden, the plate tectonics just move. The tectonic plates just move. And in those situations, entire civilizations could be wiped out.
Holy crap.
And if there was any nuclear explosions from past civilizations, like in Mohenjo-Daro, or if there was solar flares or asteroids that burnt Earth to a cinder, there would be a lot of civilizations where we wouldn't be able to discover anything from them.
Yeah, because I always wondered why we can't find ancient civilization technology, like how they built the pyramids and stuff.
See, that's a very interesting one because I've thought the same thing. And at first, I thought that, maybe we just haven't found the technology yet. Because, for example, Peru and Egypt are the two smoking guns for ancient civilizations in the world. Peru, maybe even more than Egypt, but it's really been on lockdown over there. And but the religion of Peru is Catholic and the religion of Egypt is Muslim. And there's a lot of things that we're not able to go and discover and dig. So maybe there's some technology there where they're not letting us see it. But the other thing is the level of consciousness that we were at those civilizations was such a high consciousness, maybe we didn't need standard tools. Maybe we could use our own bodies.
Crazy.
Right? For example, for levitation, drill holes. Right? If this is a simulation, just imagine like a video game. like you're in the video game. And saying
shout out to today's sponsor, Quince. As the weather cools, I'm swapping in the pieces that actually gets the job done, that are warm, durable, and built to last. Quince delivers every time with wardrobe staples that'll carry you through the season. They have fall staples that you'll actually want to wear, like the 100% Mongolian cashmere for just $60. They also got classic fit denim and real leather and wool outerwear that looks sharp and holds up. By partnering directly with ethical factories and top artisans, Quince cuts out the middleman to deliver premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. They've really become a go-to across the board. You guys know how I love linen and how I've talked about it on previous episodes. I picked up some linen pants and they feel incredible. The quality is definitely noticeable compared to other brands. Layer up this fall with pieces that feel as good as they look. Go to quince.com/DSH for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. They're also available in Canada too.
video game, you have chisels, right? But then you've created a game, another level. The coders created a level that if you go through this game and you beat the final boss, which is the shadow of that realm, when you go into the next video game, you're now going to have the abilities to actually like have laser pointers like Superman.
Wow.
But all it is code in the game, right? So we can't think of it like that because we're limited to the belief system that this is all we can do with our five senses. But if this is a coded reality, the code can shift in order for us to do pretty much anything.
Yeah, I feel like we're capable of so much more. You're starting to see with the telepathy tapes, right? With autism, like that's just the first step.
The telepathy tapes are mind blowing, right? What's going on, especially when those kids are meeting up on the same hill and they didn't even know each other.
No.
And then when they met each other on a Facebook group, they knew each other's names because they were meeting up in a different realm.
That's crazy.
And that and now that's coming out into the mainstream, right? So that's only scratching the surface of what we're capable of.
I've had people that remember past lives in Atlantis saying they could swim underwater, hold their breath for like 20, 30 minutes. You know, they had fins on their arms. So I think we just adapt to our environment, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's so fascinating. There's movies about how we're only using like 5% of our brain.
Yeah. Well, we're using a little more than that, but the thing is that there's parts of our brain that are dormant and are not fully used to its full potential. Plus our DNA, right? There's the junk DNA. There's parts of our DNA that we can't even tap into.
Right.
And not only that, we only see a fraction of a percent on the light spectrum, right? So there's even parts of our DNA that exist in the light spectrum that's not visible to our own eye.
Yeah, I just saw you do a video about this. Why can't most people see aliens, right?
Yeah.
So they can't see that light spectrum.
It's the frequency. Yeah, frequency is the whole thing.
So if someone had really high frequency, do you think they'd be able to see more aliens?
See, I don't know if it's high or low. So we can talk about that for a second. Is that we've been in the Kali Yuga, the Dark Ages. There's three themes of that age: hierarchy, authority, delusion. Okay, what's right is wrong. What's wrong is right. You can see that in the world. Hierarchy and authority, that we consider everything to be higher than or lower than, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, the Schumann resonance is a very low frequency, but it's a really beautiful frequency that can connect you to the consciousness of the planet, right? So it's more about harmony compared to disharmony. So the frequencies on the planet have been very disharmonic, and we're shifting into a harmonic frequency. There's certain levels of that harmony, different octaves that we can be at that will perceive things. So when we collectively experience harmony on this planet, we're going to be able to see a lot of what we can't right now. And I feel that Earth is the biggest light show in the universe, that there's probably, I don't know, thousands, if not more, craft just rotating around us, beings that are in other dimensions around us, that they're watching us. And that's the situation is that they vibrate at a frequency where we're not able to perceive. And the shift in consciousness, part of that is the remembrance. There was one word that I would say it's all about, it's remembrance. And we are collectively experiencing amnesia. We don't remember who we are. We don't remember our past lives. We don't remember our ET lives, right? We're the only planet supposedly in this galaxy that has full amnesia. So when we start healing amnesia and having remembrance, and we heal ourselves, do the inner work, because imagine right now if an ET showed up, right, to our governments, what would you think they would do? Probably fight back, get weapons, get scared,
right,
put fear out. The reason for that is because we have so many inner demons, if you will, and things that we haven't dealt with within ourselves that we're projecting it outside. So when we heal ourselves internally, that's when we create a harmonic frequency, and that's when we can have open contact. And a lot of the people you've had on here and people I've worked with are people that are always doing that inner work. And so they're getting to a point of inner peace enough to have relay communication with these beings.
right.
So it'll be, the first thing will be that the world will know we're not alone. The second part of contact is channeling. When people know we're not alone and they're doing the inner work, we're going to start communicating with other parts of the universe through our own consciousness. And then I feel after that, we might have some landings.
Have you done any forms of channeling? I tried the one Stephen Greer recommends.
Yeah, the CE5 app?
Yeah, I tried it in Sedona because I could see all the stars.
Yeah,
I saw some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Not enough to like fully convince me. And it was also my first time though.
Yeah.
So maybe I have to work on it.
You thought it might have been a satellite or something?
There was weird things moving. I'll say that. I didn't know what was going on, but no like telepathy experienced.
Yeah. So I haven't had, I've had many sightings, but I haven't done it through meditation. They've been random. You know?
Really?
Like, Corona del Mar, California. So it's between Laguna and Newport. I've seen quite a few sightings there. I saw one where there was cloud cover, right? It was like the marine layer at nighttime. And then there was 5, like, it was almost like somebody had a lamp at the top of the clouds, 5 of them. And there was projections of light all the way around. And it had to be 2 or 3 football fields wide.
Holy crap.
But the biggest one that I saw that was almost like, I'm still racking my brain, did it even happen? But I know it was there. It was in broad daylight. I saw a craft in Corona del Mar and a wormhole open up, bro. It went through it. It looked like it was going into hyperdrive.
Whoa, yeah. Just like the movies.
Yeah. And so I've seen things like that. I haven't really sat in a meditative state to do it. I did work with Stephen Greer for a while, so I was filming his events. You know what I mean?
So you saw him do it?
Yeah, I saw him do it.
That's crazy. Yeah, there's guys that take hundreds of people out in the night sky and do it, and everyone witnesses the same thing.
Right.
It's nuts. Like, there's something to that.
I feel a lot of times when we see these beings, we're seeing like our own star family, our ancestors. And some channels have said that a lot of times when you see a craft, it's actually your family that's coming to visit you.
Wow.
That we have like that much of a connection to who we're actually seeing. It's that intentional.
Do you think all humans have star families?
Well, there's Earth seeds and then there's star seeds, right? And at first I thought everybody was a star seed. And because starseed technically means that you have lineage in stars.
Yeah.
But then there's some beings and some souls that might be kind of new and they came down to the Earth experience. And those are the ones that maybe find it harder to broaden their horizons to the fact that we're not alone in the universe. You know?
They're stubborn.
Yeah. And it's because they've just had this earthly experience incarnation after incarnation. But there might also be some people that have had so many incarnations here since their last incarnation in another star system that they're just really indoctrinated to the system as well. You know? So I can't really answer that, but I do know that people that I've worked with believe that there are people that have just had Earth experiences.
Got it. Because there's people that say, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but the thing is, how do you even reconcile that with the fact that everything is happening simultaneously, including all of our incarnations? You know what I mean?
Yeah, time doesn't exist.
If time doesn't exist and this soul is just on Earth all these times, does it mean that this soul only has experience here, or is it also experiencing itself infinitely in parallel dimensions and realities?
That's interesting. When you hear people say Earth is a prison planet, do you agree with that at all?
No, I believe Earth is a gift.
Really?
Yeah. I thought it was a prison planet for a while, man. When I first woke up, I was like, dude, in 2001, 2002, I'd be at the bars, man, like in college, and I'd be like, there's a planet called Nibiru, you need to wake up. And like, I think we were enslaved and all that, right?
Yeah.
So I think what happened is because we have amnesia, it's kind of like this. Let's explain it like this. So say that you're up in universe, in cosmos, in heaven, and you're like, man, Earth looks so interesting and fun. I've experienced everything. I want to experience something other than what I've experienced. What can I do to experience something novel, something new? Well, let me wipe my memory clean so I don't remember everything I've done before. Go down to Earth in a free will planet and let me see if I can still figure out who I am. We come down to Earth. We forgot we did this to ourselves. And then we're like, holy crap, man. Why the heck would I do this? I wouldn't have done this to myself. The devil did it to me. You know what I mean? And so that story kind of goes into the Bible story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. It's like Adam and Eve had full awareness in the Garden of Eden. And then the snake convinced them, but it didn't convince them. The snake gave them the option for free will. And the snake said, would you like to be in heaven where God wants you forever? Or do you want to go down into this lower dimensional reality and experience things infinitely and have the free will to do so? So Adam and Eve, right, using that story, said, yes, let me go ahead and do that. We want to experience everything. They went down, but little did they know their memories would be wiped clean of heaven. So then all they remembered was the snake made me do it. The devil did it to me. That's where the concept of original sin comes from. Thinking that, you know, that we were cast down here, that the devil put us down here and created this reality of distortions, delusions, and manipulation. But I feel that we made that choice ourselves.
Where are you at with the whole free will versus destiny debate? I keep going back and forth myself on it.
Well, I feel the universe exists on a paradox. Okay. And the thing is, the human mind is all about cognition and all about coming up with solutions. And because of that, we can't fathom a paradox because our brain is wired to try to come up with a solution.
Right.
But a paradox is literally the opposite of that. But you are solid, but you're also a frequency, vibrating, paradox. The universe is infinite, but it's also finite, paradox. Everything exists in a paradox. So free will exists, also predetermined reality exists. So what I call it is predetermined free will.
Wow.
And the part of that is that all realities and all possibilities already exist. It's all predetermined. But you have free will to shift your frequency to jump from any reality you're going to be in.
Interesting. That is fascinating. So you think we just live every single scenario, but you kind of get to guide.
Yeah, you get to guide. That's why when we become awake and we shift our consciousness, then we get to guide more intentionally. Right now, we're just randomly jumping from experience to experience, not knowing that we're creating it.
I love that. I love that. Because I do think the more effort you put in, the more likely you are to get results personally.
Oh, yeah.
But some people say that's already predetermined, but I don't know.
Right. So, and also I think that there's certain contracts and meetings that you're going to have predetermined through your life, but how you get there is up to you. Right.
Really?
No matter what, you're going to meet a specific person, but yeah, you have the choice to get there.
So you believe in like soul ties, soulmates,
Yeah, for sure.
twin flames, all that?
Twin flames, I'm not so sure about, just because of the way it is out there in the, I guess you can call it mainstream spiritual world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't know if we're completely tied to one person because I do feel that our souls split into multiple people and they live out different. Sometimes, for example, there might be two Seans on this planet because your soul split in two, but the other one's in Kazakhstan living his life and you'll never meet him.
Really? What causes that?
Just because we want to infinitely experience ourselves. See, if you think of us being in the first, we're not only in the third and fourth dimension, we're in the first, second, third, fourth. Okay? We're in the lowest of dimensions. How many more dimensional ladders do we have to climb to go back to the original source?
A lot.
Every time we go up to one, what happens? Versions of ourselves that have been fragmented to this one come back into wholeness, come back into wholeness, come back into wholeness. What happens when you go to the end of it? You're part of everything. So on this earth, it makes perfect sense that you would be split into multiple people because this is the most fragmented part of reality that exists.
How many dimensions do you think there are?
So it depends because for example, there's parallel dimensions, which are infinite.
Yeah.
So now if you think of the earth construct, I would say that on earth construct, there's 13 dimensions of incarnational experiences on earth.
Okay.
And the 13th one is what they call the Christ consciousness dimension or the void, which isn't the void of the galaxy because that's its own construct because we live in constructs within constructs. So we're able to be 13th dimensional beings while existing on this physical planet or 12th dimensional beings. And then when we go to the 13th one, we break free from this earthly construct. So I would say that the matrix, earth matrix is 13th dimensional, but it's also important to note that matrix doesn't really mean a bad thing. For example, you can be in the fifth dimension, but you're still in the earth matrix. You know what I mean? There's disharmonic versions of that and there's harmonic versions of that.
And there's beings that can kind of hop dimensions, right?
Yeah.
Like the mythical beings like Sasquatch, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, basically they're using portal technology. And I mean, I had some past life regressions going to Orion.
Yeah.
And because Orion actually has the largest Stargate in the galaxy. It's called the portal to Descension. It's a place where it's a very higher dimensional portal and a lot of beings throughout the cosmos would actually utilize to go and incarnate into lower dimensional frequencies. So portal technology, Stargate technology exists everywhere. And again, just to bring it back to the science of it all, like if this is a simulation, you could code anything within it, right? And it's like, how do you get, like right now we have the limitation of light speed, right? But we also know in quantum physics, you can bend space-time and you can jump over a bridge and be on the other side of the galaxy very quickly. So what if we can create a technology that does that we can walk through?
Yeah. Dude, I'm into quantum healing now. This thing is
Yeah.
beast. Have you seen these?
Oh, no.
Dude, so you could get healed from distance these days
Yeah?
with quantum physics.
Yeah, for sure.
Distance healing. It's nuts. Like I literally got diagnosed from someone in Nashville. He knew exactly what parasites I had. I didn't have to call him or anything.
Right.
That's the future of medicine.
Yeah, that's it, dude. That's the whole thing of superpositioning and entanglement is that everything, all data of all information exists everywhere within the subatomic particles.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with quantum computing, right? Before they called quantum physics a theory, right? The reason why they called it a theory is because they believed they couldn't prove it. But we actually now have actionable things on the planet, practical things that we're using it, like that right there. But then in the mainstream, quantum computers, man, they're literally two quantum particles spinning at a specific specific way become entangled with each other that no matter where you put one particle, you can instantly communicate to the other particle without the need to go through light speed.
That's nuts.
Just instant communication.
So that means distance doesn't exist too.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's a paradox, as I'm saying, dude. That's like the whole thing is we're in a confused state right now in the world because all the things that we thought we knew with conventional physics
Yeah.
are now being contradicted by quantum physics. But quantum physics are the building blocks of physics. So how can, it's almost like saying you have 5 bricks of water, but when you put those bricks of water together, it creates a solid castle.
Mm.
How is that possible?
Wow, that is nuts. Yeah, the time thing I've wrapped my head around distance is just because we were taught our whole lives about distance,
Yeah.
meters, feet, like miles.
Right.
Like it's just all irrelevant
It's a useful story when they say that's why we're not visited by ETs, because how would they come here?
because they're so far away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And why, if they live for 5,000 years, why would they spend 1,000 years in a spaceship to get to us?
Right. Yeah, they always taught us they would come from other planets and
Yeah.
stuff, but not dimensions.
Yeah. You know, I love Joe Rogan so much. I love all his information. But one thing that he says that why would they visit us? We're insignificant.
Mm.
You know, he believes that like why would like we're just one
We're
civilization.
ants, yeah.
We're nothing. And we're so primitive, you know. But I feel because I'm in this world and working with so many people, I feel that we're actually very important. And the Earth experience is such a huge different experience than most of the cosmos because we get to experience the full range of emotional expression. We get to go in the dark of the dark to the light of the light, right? And through this experience, we're basically able to ascend to greater heights than most civilizations haven't been able to.
Mm.
And we're able to exist within physicality while we're in an ascended state. Because a lot of beings, when they ascend, they're in a vibrational state where they're no longer physical.
Right.
The Earth experience is how can we still be physical, have experience of Earth, but we still maintain those higher dimensional frequencies.
Yeah, there's not many beings like that, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, because we can astral travel. We can,
Right.
we can kind of hop to the 4th dimension, right?
Yeah.
Some people 5th.
If you look at most, I mean, you've had channelers and different things on here.
Yeah.
So if you look at a lot of the information, they come from planets where there's 1 or 2 species.
Mm.
Think of how many species we have on this Earth. The diversity on this planet is unheard of.
Yeah.
And it's because a lot of beings throughout the galaxy have donated DNA to the Earth experience. So not only are we so diverse, but we also have genetic connections. The cockroaches have genetic connections to beings.
Yeah.
Ants do, you know? So that's why they consider us family, because it's almost like an experiment. How can we donate DNA to Earth, have them all evolve, and let's see if they can work out how to live in harmony.
Wow.
And my theory is that the galaxy has had a lot of war and disconnect between civilizations, and Earth is almost like an experience of galactic speciesism. How can we live in harmony with all these races that have heritage to the stars?
Yeah, there was a lot of ancient wars in the past, right?
Yeah.
I know you've studied that pretty extensively, Orion wars and things like that.
Yeah, there was the Lyran Wars, which were one of the first ones because Lyra was the first constellation that was inhabited by hominid species, right? Our ancestors furthest back. And there was the wars there. And then in Orion, there was wars between reptilians and humans, but not all reptilians. It wasn't reptilians against humans. It was reptilians and humans against reptilians and humans.
Mm.
It was just a polarity war,
Got it.
you know? And I would say that the Orion Wars, let me take a step back. If you look at the world, right, and you look at ancient civilizations and say that we know that the Greeks talked about Arcturus, we know that the Egyptians talked about the Syrians, and they talked about Orion as well. And if you look to try to find ancient structures that are aligned with the Pleiades, Arcturus, Sirius, you might find a window of a pyramid facing Sirius, right?
Mm.
But if you look at the world and you try to find civilizations that have structures aligned to Orion, you'll find them everywhere. The Giza Plateau, Maya, Uxmal in the Yucatan Peninsula, Adam's Calendar in South Africa. You can go on and on, probably hundreds of them, actual structures dedicated to Orion, right? More than any of the other civilizations. And it's because all these other civilizations were a part of a lower dimensional matrix creation. The Orion matrix is the overarching energy of Earth's experience, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So basically, what happened in Orion is deeply connected to the overall story on Earth. These other stories of these other beings, there were little players and there were chapters within that book.
Got
The
it.
Orion story is the overarching one.
So that's like the base.
Yeah.
That's where it all starts.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's fascinating.
That's not where Earth started, but that's where the cycles of time and the matrix that we currently know of, power, control, and evolution, actually came from.
Really? So it's been around since then.
Yeah. Well, it was been around 100 million years ago is when there was the infiltration from Orion. And for around 50,000 years ago, these beings from Orion have been incarnating into the royal families, into bloodlines and things like that in order to maintain control of humanity.
So humans were around back then, 100 million years ago?
No, 100 million years ago, the dinosaurs were here, right? So first of all, they could be actually humans that have been here that long because we only go based on the last skeletal remains we found, which was around 300,000 years ago. So we never know unless we find something. But these beings that came down, they were actually reptilian beings, and they came down during the dinosaur age, and they were manipulating the dinosaur age. So what was happening 100 million years ago is the Earth's consciousness was not at a level where beings could incarnate with memories. They would all incarnate with amnesia. So what they did was they played the long game. Even though they came here, they didn't incarnate for many, many years until the consciousness of Earth was at a level that they could maintain their memories and they could exert control on the population.
What do you think of these scientists trying to bring back the dinosaurs and the mammoth and all that?
Yeah, by cloning them?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about that.
You know, I ultimately I'm hopeful that everything is going to be okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when it comes to what they're doing with dinosaurs and trying to clone them, I really don't have an opinion on it.
Jurassic Park, man, come on.
I know. Like, that's the thing. There's so many movies, even with AI and Terminator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think AI is going to help us, not destroy us.
There's probably a dimension where it destroys us.
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
Well, I know some speakers that spoke on Portal to Ascension that have talked about AI taking over entire systems. And
yeah, Ishmael Perez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he was here too, right? And,
Yep.
But then there's also civilizations that have an AI that's operating all the management and all the agriculture and everything on the planet. And they're able to go out into the cosmos and interact with people like us.
Yeah. Yeah, the more I look into movies, the more I realize everyone's just channeling. Like Star Wars, Star Trek, all that stuff is possible, right?
Well, I mean, Star Wars, the prime directive, the law of non-interference, right? That's straight up either channeled or he went to an event where he heard about this, because Earth has been under quarantine for some time, meaning that the level of consciousness of Earth was at such a level, at a lower level, that beings did not want to come and interact with us because we needed to evolve to a certain state of consciousness. So there was the law of non-interference. In Star Trek, they literally have that where you cannot interact with a civilization that hasn't got to a certain level of consciousness so that they can interact with the rest of the world.
Wow.
Right? And there's also Gene Roddenberry, and there was events back in the day in the 90s and 80s, and that were actually in the 70s too in LA, where some of the people that I work with would say that, you know, Gene Roddenberry and George Lucas would actually attend these events to channelings and seances and get a lot of the information from there.
Interesting.
Plus, these guys are connected to the secret space program as well. You know, the Pentagon and all the UFOs, the UFO crash retrieval teams. I feel that they're getting a lot of information from insiders.
Yeah, the UFO crash retrievals, that's a real program.
Yeah.
I've talked to some people. Like, I know people think that's a conspiracy, but there's teams that are designated to do that.
Yeah. I mean, and there's so many whistleblowers now that are putting their lives on the line by coming out and talking about it.
Yeah, that's nuts. What do you think's their mission with just retrieving that stuff?
What their mission was?
Yeah.
Well, it's probably multifaceted, but when it comes to what they're saying, it looks like that their mission was in order to reverse engineer this technology to basically further the militarization of the organizations that were taking this technology, right? But then also, because what happens is the military, if it's not against national security, this is how it works. If it's not a threat to national security, they have to tell the public, right? But if you're a private organization, you have the rights not to reveal intellectual property. So what they would do is they would get these UFOs, they would have the private corporations take the UFOs and work on it. And now, even if it's not a threat to national security, they don't have to disclose it.
Wow.
And if you look at something, for example, Edwards Air Force Base, which actually goes into the Grapevine of California, if you know the Grapevine, right after Six Flags Magic Mountain, right? That whole area is so many UFO sightings, man. And so they actually have the Edwards Air Force Base extends all the way there. And if you look at, when I looked before, you could see on Google Map, I forget what company it was, Bigelow, something like that. They actually have a facility inside the military Air Force Base. So a lot of times the private companies rent out space from the military so that they can actually do the tests on the craft in the military so that they could exchange information.
That's nuts. Have you been to Skinwalker Ranch yet?
I haven't. Have you?
I'm about to go.
Yeah, really?
You want to come? Yeah, yeah.
Dude, when are you going?
So I'm going to Salt Lake in 2 weeks. The founder of Skinwalker Ranch, he's like a billionaire, I think. He's coming on the pod.
Oh, man.
But the sightings there have been nuts.
Yeah.
Have you looked into that place?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen documentaries and everything.
Yeah.
See, that's the whole thing. Is the paranormal connection over there as well.
Yeah, I'm always fascinated
Experience.
with why certain regions get so many more sightings.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think?
All right. So my thought on that is, in order to explain that, I need to talk about. Are you familiar with Ascenti Ranch in Seattle? Not
Ascenti
Seattle, but in
Ranch.
Washington,
Nah.
Portland area. So it's called the Enlightened Center for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. It's a retreat center where they've been doing ET contact for quite some time.
Mhm.
Right, James Gilliland, he's the owner of it, and over there, there's a mountain called Mount Adams. Okay, and if you go to this ranch and you look at the mountain, not only during the day but at night, there's lights everywhere, man. Literally, like just lights, UFOs. I was there once and I saw a black helicopter land on the mountain and military come out of there and go to one of the places the lights were.
Whoa.
Like it's under that much surveillance, right? So long story short, because basically a remote viewer came and he tuned into it and downloaded this information, is that in some places on Earth, there's magnetic anomalies where the positive magnet and the negative magnet has such a huge variation from being here where it normally is that it creates a rip in space-time. And those places become perfect places for beings to travel through.
Got it.
So what was happening in Mount Adams is that there was a polarity shift. And same thing in Sedona, same thing at the Mystery Point in Santa Cruz, right? All these places are magnetic anomalies. And it creates a rip in space-time that either beings can come and visit our planet or they can use that as a gateway to go to other dimensions.
Interesting. So it's like a portal almost.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll have access to Stargates in our lifetime? Like the average person, I guess?
I don't know. I think that there were Stargates on Earth. Some of them are dormant, some of them are hidden, some of them maybe are stolen, right? Stargate Atlantis, Stargate SG-1 is my favorite show. You
I
ever
haven't seen that
Oh,
one.
bro, you got to see it, man. It's the biggest disclosure show ever.
Really?
Right
Okay, I'll
there.
check it out.
On there. And a lot of that actually came from true information about what they found in Egypt, about Stargates. So I believe we will eventually have it, but I don't know if in our lifetimes we're going to be at the level of consciousness to be allowed to use that technology.
So when you say stolen, they literally took it out of its place and stole it?
Well, it's more like it was found at an archaeological dig, and then they took it to some sort of laboratory and did some tests on it and maybe started making it work.
Yeah, I've always been fascinated with teleportation and stuff like that,
Well, the thing is they've already, so the whole thing is that supposedly we can't teleport, but on the subatomic level, we see things operating in two states at one time. We've seen teleportation subatomically, but the atomic world, you and I, are made of subatomic particles. So 2 years ago, I think it was, they finally got a collection. It was a collection of hydrogen atoms, and they made the hydrogen atoms teleport, right? So this is huge because hydrogen atoms go by conventional physics, where subatomic particles don't. So they've now been able to make conventional physics mimic teleportation on a small level with hydrogen atoms. So it's the beginning phases, I feel, of teleportation. And it's the beginning phase of teleportation, but that's just one level of what they're showing us. There's a whole other world of a black budget world of technology they've been reverse engineering for 90 years.
Yeah.
If not more. Who knows what technology they have hidden from us, man?
Who knows what they're doing in the Vatican?
Exactly.
Who knows what's down there?
No,
You know,
exactly,
I've
man.
heard some wild stuff about there.
Yeah.
And Antarctica too. Have you looked into that?
I've done some events on Antarctica, pyramids down there and different structures and sites. Also a pole shift that shifted the crust of the earth that maybe made Antarctica flash freeze in a very short period of time. And then the guy that from, I forget the company is from, but the guy Stephen Greer brought out that was talking about there being a directed energy weapon underneath the ground there. And then the other thing was that they have some technologies to observe this type of radiation that comes off UFOs when they come in and out of our atmosphere. And they have that technology.
Holy crap.
Right. So that was all at Stephen Greer's press conference. This guy was talking about that.
Yeah, these direct energy weapons, they're no joke, right?
No.
I mean.
Well, he said that one in Antarctica actually caused the earthquake in Chile a few years ago.
No way. So they can cause an earthquake of that magnitude all the way from Antarctica. That's mind-blowing, dude.
Yeah.
The flood was sketchy in Texas a few weeks ago. The tsunami recently too.
Yeah.
Just seems all weird to me.
There's so much going on, man, that like I don't really know. All I know is that I'm exploring some of this truth, trying to figure it out a little bit. But there's who and what we are and what's happening on the planet and who the people are that control our planet, right? And how long they've been controlling the planet. These are all pieces of information I think should be coming out.
Yeah.
Hopefully in our lifetimes.
That's why I see the prison argument, because when you look at who's in control, it doesn't seem to be a positive control at the moment.
Right. So that's the thing. Like, so it's a paradox, bro. It's a prison and it's not, because we knew we were coming down to experience the dark of dark.
Mm.
Who's going to give us the dark? Well, the dark forces, of course,
Right.
right? So we came here, but then what's the best way to play the role is to forget you're playing it and just be in it.
Mm.
What's the best way for you to be a video character game, a character in a video game, is to not know you're that character, but just be playing that game,
Yeah.
right? Like the NPCs in a regular video game. Not to say that we're NPCs,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Do you think darkness is needed?
I think darkness is needed in a world of amnesia. When you forget who you are and you forget the light, the only way to understand and know the light is to go through the darkness.
Mm.
So the analogy is darkness at the end, there's light at the end of the tunnel,
Yep.
but you got to go through the tunnel to get there.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yin and yang, right?
Right.
You need both.
And darkness isn't always evil. Darkness are some challenges. Darkness are maybe you had insecurities and depressions from something, right? That's your own level of darkness, but you're not doing evil. And it's like, what do you do to sit with yourself to confront these things that are showing up for you? And then you have the opportunity to become one of two things. This is the way duality works. You can either become a victim to the darkness, and you can be a perpetuator of the darkness you experience, right? Hurt people,
Right.
or you become the master. And when you become the master, you're able to embody the polar opposite of that. So that's why, like, I don't think it's a prison planet, is because I think these beings that have been doing what they've been doing have given us the opportunity to have the catalyst to grow into greater heights than we've ever been before. And we probably wouldn't have the ascended world that we're going to have if it wasn't for the darkness that's been here.
So what about in an ascended world? Do you think there's a place for darkness and evil?
There's always duality unless we're one with source. So there's when the singularity split into duality, it became masculine and feminine first.
Right.
It became light and dark next, but it was just space and suns. And then it became black holes, and that's light and dark. There's no evil. There's no goodness or bad. It went lower and lower and lower in dimension. Then duality eventually became polarity. Polarity eventually became good and evil. Okay. So we're now at that level where we have darkness embodied in evil and good embodied in light. So as we move forward and higher in dimensions, we eventually get to a point where good and evil no longer exist, but darkness and challenges still do. So we have challenges, but we don't have evil in the way we have it before. Now, there will be some time in higher realities where there might still be those with agendas that aren't for the collective good, But I feel as we continue to ascend, that is not going to be the case anymore.
You mentioned black holes. What do you think happens when something enters a black hole?
Man.
If you had to guess.
So it's crazy because I just did a presentation on black holes an hour before I got here. Yeah, it was all on black holes. So first of all, we gotta admit that black holes are mind-blowing because energy is supposed to always exist, but we're literally seeing all energy and light go into nothingness and be neutralized.
Right.
First of all, could it be that it's a rip in the simulation, right? Maybe a rip in the program. And now my belief is that we have something called white holes. And in this world of duality, there's an opposite polarity of everything. So there could either be a dimension where there's only white holes, right? So basically it's like another universe, but there's white holes only. It also could be that the suns are the opposite reversal of a black hole. Because they used to think that suns were actually using nuclear fission, but now they've changed that as well. They're not really sure where the energy is coming from. But what happens to a sun that's not a massive sun when it explodes? Do you know what happens?
It expands, right?
And then it becomes a black hole.
Oh, wow.
It implodes on itself and becomes a freaking black hole.
Interesting. So all the energy goes back.
Yeah, the gravity pulls it back in. But if it's massive, bigger than that, then it's so big, it just explodes and becomes whatever. Like it just becomes a supernova. But suns become that. So I have a feeling that the energy that goes into a black hole, because there's smaller black holes, but then there's supermassive black holes like our galaxy has, every galaxy has. So maybe they go to different places. Maybe it's a portal to another dimension, another galaxy. Maybe you can come out of a sun through a spaceship in another place, right? Could be multiple things. And but then also the third thing it could be, so I said it could be the sun, right? It could be going to another dimension. The third thing is that what we've just figured out over the last decade is that supermassive black holes have a reversal period where they become white holes. So 3.5 million years ago, our supermassive black hole in the center of the galaxy reversed polarities and spewed out energy.
Holy crap.
And we can still see, because we're looking in time when we're looking back,
Right.
we can still see the remnants of that. And they said that the explosion would have been so massive that even though it's 26,000 light years away, we would have seen the matter coming out of the black hole from our planet.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, the solar system fascinates me, like how a planet is formed, like just mind-blowing stuff, right?
Oh, it's so anomalous. You know, like talking about how planets are formed, if you don't mind me talking about that. Like, you know, what's crazy is like the sun has equal gravity all around, okay? So what supposedly happened is that dust clouds after the sun was formed emerged all over around the sun, and then they coalesced in order to create planets, right? But you know, the rapid speed of these rocks was so fast that for them to collide together and stick together to create planets is really unimaginable. They probably would have exploded into each other, right? And then what happened after this supposed emergence of these planets was they all formed an exact flat disk at the equator of the sun. The gravity is equal everywhere. There wasn't a planet here, there wasn't a planet here, there wasn't a planet here. They all went to the equator of the sun.
That's crazy.
Every single solar system is the same. So how would that happen if we know that gravity exists the same all around the sun? So the other theory that was thrown out, but actually has a lot of credibility to it, I would say, is that suns birth planets. That the mass of the sun in the early solar system is so great that it can't sustain itself. So it needs to excrete plasma. So huge plasma disks from the equator of the sun come out. Those plasma disks, imagine it like lava. And that lava eventually cools down, becomes rocky planets. So that's the other theory of what happens. But the thing is, when we look into the galaxy, we don't see evidence of either. We can see all these solar systems, but we can't see any evidence of planets being formed.
Interesting.
So we can't really tell which one is the right
So
one.
there's no leading theory on that right now?
No.
That is crazy. Yeah, the fact that they're all in alignment is even crazier.
Well, there is a leading theory, but the leading theory is what they've been telling us for decades, that they don't want to change.
The Big Bang?
Well, the Big Bang for sure as the beginning of it all, but the way planets are formed through these disks and how the matter just sticks together and creates planets. That's the leading theory right now.
That's just what I feel like. There has to be a spiritual side to it, right?
Yeah.
Like it just wouldn't make sense logically.
Explain that a bit.
Like if they just formed that like out of randomness, like I don't see that.
Oh no, for sure. Especially the way our galaxy is created, like our solar system. Like every planet is exactly where it needs to be in order to protect the other planet.
Right.
Like if it wasn't for Saturn and Jupiter, we would have been taken out a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, from the asteroid belt?
Yeah, bro. See, it's not just the asteroid belt, because we're also colliding with Sagittarius A dwarf galaxy. And the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy is actually going through our solar system, creating a spiral. So the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, the leading theory on that is actually an asteroid came from the Sagittarius galaxy, not from the asteroid belt.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the asteroid belt for sure, because it does, you know, collect some things from there. But there's all types of things happening. Like there was that asteroid, I think like over 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, that was going towards Earth, but then Jupiter pulled it in and it split into 9 different asteroids and just hit Jupiter. And maybe that would have come and messed up without gravity, right? So it's almost like, who put that there? And it's also interesting how Jupiter and Zeus are both representation of Jupiter, which is the protecting god, which is the #1 planet in our solar system protecting us.
Wow. That is an interesting thing. You think you'll go to Mars once we perfect that route?
Yeah, bro.
You're going to go?
Well, I got to go, but it's got to be much different than
Yeah, now it takes a year to get there, right?
I feel like we might get to the level where we can actually terraform the planet.
What do you mean?
Like do something where the atmosphere kicks in, rain starts, oceans get created.
They're already doing that here. They're the weather manipulation.
Yeah, technically they're doing it here. I mean, technically we go to deserts and turn them into oasis, right?
I've seen Mateus summon rain in the desert.
Really?
I mean, yeah.
Wow.
There's people that can summon rain. There's people that can use their technology to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they can do that. And then even Elon Musk had this whole thing of what he wants to do in Mars, and he has theoretical representations of things of how they can terraform the planet. And he said, I guess by controlled explosions, putting enough carbon into the atmosphere that it will then kickstart the atmosphere and then create rain clouds and thereby fertilize the planet. You know, that might not be the way, but I do feel we can get to the level of technology where we can do that.
Have you seen that theory where Mars, there was like a war that happened on there? That's why there's all the big craters.
100%.
You think that happened?
Yeah. Well, I feel like there was, so I've gone back and forth on this theory a lot. I believe that there was a civilization on Mars, but now I'm leading to that Mars could have been the moon of Maldek, which was the asteroid belt, and Mars and Maldek were both inhabited. And then yeah, there was a war on Maldek, and then it carried over to Mars.
What happened to that moon of Mars?
When Mars was the moon.
Oh, it was the moon.
Uh-huh.
What happened to Maldek?
Maldek was destroyed. It's the asteroid belt.
Oh, the whole planet got
Yeah.
destroyed.
Uh-huh.
What has that capability?
Well, they would say, people say it was nuclear explosions, right? But honestly, there's probably technologies out there in the cosmos that we're not even aware of.
Right, because a nuke wouldn't be enough, I feel like.
Well, it depends how big it is.
Right.
And when you look at the soil of Mars, there's actually evidence of a type of byproduct of nuclear
I saw that.
explosions.
I saw that. Yeah, and there's no water there too.
Same on the moon. There's a byproduct of nuclear explosion there too.
On the moon?
Yeah, nuclear fission or explosion.
Is that on the dark side of the moon or?
I'm not sure on what side of the moon, but I just know it's on the moon.
Okay, the dark side scares me.
Dude, the moon is the trippiest thing, man.
Yeah, a lot of people say it's been planted too.
Oh yeah, bro. Well, there's stories about the time before the moon. You know, different civilizations talked about that. And out of all the moons in our solar system, it's the only one tidal locked to our planet. It doesn't mean it doesn't. It doesn't mean it doesn't rotate, because people think it means it doesn't rotate. But it's literally like going like this every time it moves. It's almost like nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here, folks.
Whoa.
It just keeps going with the Earth.
That's actually
So,
crazy. I didn't know that. So they don't want you to see that side.
No, and it's the perfect size, yes, plus or minus an inch or so, maybe, for it to block out the sun completely. Like, it could have been a few feet more, it could have been 100 miles less.
Facts.
Perfectly there. The ratio of our Earth to our sun, Earth to our moon, is the largest, the smallest difference than any satellite from any other planet or any other moon in our solar system, right? So there's just too many. There's too many anomalies with it.
Dude, yeah. Now that you said the perfect sizing, I'm gonna always be thinking about that. But it blocks out the sun during eclipses perfectly.
Right, exactly.
Why? Like it could have been any size.
Yeah.
There's no way that's a coincidence, right? I don't
No.
believe in coincidences.
No. Well, like if you look up just the probability of these things, it's just astronomical. 1 out of a trillion to be there. You know,
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Wow. Dude, when's your next event? I know we're talking about filming maybe at the next one.
Okay, so you know I do events online all the time. So I have like what's coming up next? Yeah, every single week every single month I have around 3 events. Right?
Wow.
We do around 30-40% of it's on extraterrestrials, another 20% on our true history. The rest are spiritual tools and practices. But our next live event is New Living Expo in the Bay Area, April 17th to 19th next year. And it's we have like 7 rooms, 7 or 8 speaker rooms, 145 vendors, you know, about 200 speakers going to be there.
Nice.
So it's going to be great.
Yeah, you're helping a lot of people, man. Appreciate what you do. Where else can people support you and find you?
Sure. So you can check me out at portaltoascension.org. And all my events are there. We have a register for replays. I've done over 4,000 of these events, right? And so if you sign up for my website, you get hundreds of hours of free content. And what I'd like to say about my website is basically it's a one-stop shop for consciousness. So not only if you like are somebody's in this world that you want to learn more tools to be able to teach this to the rest of the world and yourself, or if you're just waking up and you want to find one place with everything you need in order to help usher you into a greater knowing, you know, then you can check out our website.
Awesome. Check them out, guys. That was a really fun episode. I'll see you next time. Peace. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the show a lot with the algorithm. Thank you.